Hey guys, welcome back to Dreamin' Dragons. As you can see, we are blessed
Oh,
by
yeah.
the one and only Costa Georgiadis again, host of Gardening Australia. Thank you for joining us.
I am really excited because since we did our little workshop, I've been speaking to people about that, and then people keep coming back at me with lots of questions, particularly about their flowers and, different states of well-being that they end up in. And I thought, well, I should come up and ask you to get to the bottom of some of these challenges, because people have really spoken to me and said how much they want to grow them. And, I direct them your way. But, yeah, so where will we begin?
Yeah, so as you can see here, we've got a few little props, and many dragon fruit growers may have seen this sad sight. These are flowers that have aborted, they've fallen off, they haven't turned into fruit, and today we're going to go over the 5 most common reasons why your flower hasn't turned into a dragon fruit. So I'll leave you that sloppy little prize there.
Thank you. That's win-win.
So as you can see, our flowers here haven't turned into fruit. We'll start off with 5 reasons why this could be possible and things to look out for in your garden. So the most common reason why your flower is not turning into a fruit is most probably it is a self-sterile variety. So a self-sterile variety is one that will not set fruit with its own pollen. So with that, you will need to use the pollen from another variety, not just from another branch on that plant, but from a whole nother variety.
Whole nother variety of plant,
Yeah.
not even another plant of that same variety.
Correct. So say you've got one plant in the ground and it's got 2 branches, each branch has a flower. You can't use the pollen from one branch to use the other. Or if you've grown the same branch in another pot, it's the same variety, and it won't set a fruit with that. You'll need a whole nother variety.
Okay.
So that's the most common reason. So if you're not getting a fruit, that's probably where I'd say usually is the most common case.
Yep.
Second reason is a lot of people just assume without doing anything, the plant will set into a fruit. So you've got your flower opening. Some of them will be able to set fruit. Some are things called self-pollinating, but typically you're going to need to move the pollen from the anthers to the stigma. And I'll overlay some B-roll here. So you need the pollen from the anthers, the little whiskery things, onto the little octopus tentacle thing. The pollen needs to move from there to there. If it doesn't get there, sometimes bees can do that, but not always. Bees aren't always around at nighttime or early in the morning.
Yeah.
So you'll have to hand pollinate, and that's another common problem. Third most common problem is if it rains. So the flower, the stigma, once that pollination has been completed, if it rains, I find typically within the first 12 hours or so, 24 hours, if that stigma does get wet from rain, or if you're sort of a bit erratic with the hose or the kids with the water pistol, you can find that it washes the pollen off or interacts with that sort of process.
Yeah.
So keeping it dry, and I've got some videos on how to protect your flower if it's raining or if there's a storm and that kind of thing, and they'll be linked in the description. The 4th common reason is if it's too hot. So the other day we had about a 40-degree day, and I think that's actually the cause of this one here, because I did pollinate it, and there is a little line, so the pollen was accepted. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can
there's
see
a little
the
line.
Yeah.
So there's a little line just there, and so the pollen was accepted, but it was about 40 degrees, and the plant was just under too much stress, and just
Aborted.
got rid of it. It'd rather preserve its own energy for its own survival than for the fruit. And our 5th most common reason, so if you have too many flowers on that single branch, so say you've got a branch and you've really fueled it with some fertilizer, or it's just pretty mature and it's pumped out lots of buds, lots of flowers, sometimes the branch will again preserve its energy to protect itself, may only sort of set 1 or 2 fruit, just to conserve that energy, focus all its energy on just those 1 or 2. If you get 5 flowers on the same branch and it does keep them all, quite often you'll get much smaller fruit as well. So it's sort of better as well for the dessert plate, also for the plant's energy, sometimes to throw them out and conserve for those 2 or 3 rather than 5. Yeah, so there's our 5 most common reasons why our plants chucking them away.
Fantastic. Well, they're the kind of little tips that make all the difference, because with that on board, then you can start to develop your skills, particularly for point 3, I think, where you have to pollinate yourself.
Definitely.
So do you use just a little paintbrush on that?
Yeah. So I'll link a few videos on it, some tips on how to pollinate. I'll throw some B-roll over the top, as you've probably seen if you've got to this point.
Yeah, because you don't want to just look. You don't want to just look at this face. That's not offering too much.
So yeah, you've seen the B-roll. Any other questions? I've got some pollinating tips and others, and I'll link them all in the description. But thank you again for joining us. It's been a pleasure as always.
Oh, what a treat to jump into the Dream and Dragon cave of dragon fruit. I love it.
Excellent. Thank you again. Hopefully see you again soon.
Okay. See you, everyone.